Welcome in this week on Up Up Download. We are going to be talking about Gmod losing Nintendo material. Has Baldur's Gate 3 changed game marketing forever, magically, beautifully? And Embracer Group is no more. Sort of, kind of, possibly. No, they're still here, unfortunately. It's time to start the download. Hello and welcome back to Up Up Download. I am your host for the week, Sterling, aka iCitation, joined today by Michelle, aka Mix Yen. Michelle, I'm so happy to be back. It has been, I think, a month since I have last been on the show.
Shit.
Yeah, it's been a month since I last did a news broadcast. We did our Dead by Daylight stream before I left for Florida, but I am back from Florida and finally get to talk about the news. Before we get into the news, I want to hear about this thing that you're excited about. There's a Stardew Valley Baldur's Gate mod that you brought up to me that I really want to hear more about. I'm going to go find the link again and pull it up on stream, but I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, so I thought this was kind of so cute because I was already like following this artist. Like, if you're a killer Baldur's Gate 3 artist or just like an artist in general, I will follow. Like, I will unabashedly just follow anyone. So I was following this Chinese artist, and they are creating a Baldur's Gate 3 mod in Stardew. And I think some people have already seen the Astraria mod for Stardew, but this is like a full-on, like, they're putting all of the characters into Stardew. So they released some pictures of what they have so far and was getting some major traction. I was surprised because I was seeing like articles written about it, and I was like, oh, I already followed this artist, so ahead of my time. But it's already looking really beautiful. And
Zunhe 1145, that's the artist.
Yes. And they are I saw that they are going to need help with the Chinese translation to the English translation, because it's primarily a team of Chinese artists and modders working on it. So if you're someone that's bilingual and you want to help with this, you should definitely DM Zunhe 1145 and be like, hey, I can help. Their Patreon link is also in their Twitter bio. You want to toss them a few coin. But yeah, the tweet has like 15,000 likes. Like, it kind of went hard, and they've been talking about like, they're just basically going in the order of characters like they were really excited to work on. So of course, like, Shadowheart and Astarion are on the cover, but they're trying to make it really, really really definitive with all the Baldur's Gate 3 characters. I saw later on in the tweet thread, like, they were gonna have Roland in there at some point. They're working on Gale. They're working on other characters right now as well. It's just, gonna be a little bit. I think they said they hope to have it released before. Um, I might be talking my out of my ass. I think they said they wanted to have it out before the year anniversary of Baldur's Gate 3
Okay, and
release.
that would be in August, I think, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm seeing here, PC Gamer has an article on it. They are trying to get a full romance slash dating quest line for Astarion, with the possibility open of something similar with other NPCs. Halcyon, they're also trying to get. Um, they're including a whole map. That's the freaky part to me, is that they are trying to build out the entire thing. That's going to be incredible. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to see this. So I'm gonna be following this very closely, and that's probably gonna be, if 1.6 didn't get me back into Stardew Valley, this probably will, honestly.
Real.
Yeah. Okay, that's incredible. Really excited to see what comes from that. Let me. Producing a show is hard. Going from scene to scene requires a lot of brain power, and I can't talk and do it at the same time. um,
Understand.
So let's hop into the news for the week. So right off the bat, our one of the top stories of the week is that Gmod is going to be losing all Nintendo material from the game. This is about, it's 2024. Gmod is based on the engine for Half-Life 2, which came out around 2004. I don't know exactly when Gmod came out, so I would imagine about 20 years ago, it came out. So this is about 20 years of material that this game's going to be losing, having to sift through and delete. Do you know anything about Gmod? Have you ever gotten to play this before?
Uh, I have not played Gmod before, but I know it is. I've seen many a fucking Let's Play with Gmod.
Many Let's Plays, you've probably seen loads of memes that were built in Gmod too, because a lot of
Hmm.
people use it for like weird animation and stuff. It'll be very strange, very strange content coming out of it. And actually, what's interesting is that Gmod is about to get like a quote unquote sequel. In I think they're using the Source 2 engine. It might be its own proprietary engine. Called Sandbox, S ampersand box. And so like they're full-fledged on development on this, and like they're getting really close to releasing. And so it kind of sucks that they have to put a bunch of brain power towards deleting 20 years of Nintendo related content
Yeah.
now. And let's see here. I have a article from Game Rant about it now, from by Charming Holiday, which is an amazing name. Yeah, 20 years of Nintendo related content. So basically they have to go through their workshop and manually delete all of this. And that's going to be everything, like from maps that take place in like Peach's Castle or anything like that, to just 3D models of like Mario and Luigi. And I don't know how often sound effects or music gets added as just workshop elements, but like all of that as well. It's gonna take a long time, and they're asking for the users' help if they have any uploads themselves of uh, Nintendo related content, to go ahead and delete it so that they don't have to do it themselves. I feel bad for them, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like this has been 20 years of this happening, and like in my mind, not really harming Nintendo's image. People are pretty clear on the fact that this is like always a joke, and it's never really been used for, I mean, it's been used to like do gross stuff plenty, but like, I mean, it's been 20 years. The damage has been done a long time ago in my eyes. I don't know how you feel about this.
When companies start to get overzealous about protecting their image, it's actually the company that itself that ends up kind of dragging themselves through the dirt.
That's fair. And Nintendo's notorious for this kind of stuff, of protecting their image, but it's like, while they're notorious about it, they've also been letting this happen for a really long time. and it just sucks that like there's not a delete Nintendo button. That's a lot of manual hard labor to go through, and they're gonna have to bring on some temp to just sit there and sift through it all. Which yeah, that's a shame, but it is what it is. It's got to happen. It's going to happen, and we'll see if we'll see what Sandbox brings if people bring back Nintendo stuff in the Sandbox. But not really a whole lot to say on the matter aside from that. So we have another little piece of Baldur's Gate 3 news. Has Baldur's Gate 3 forever changed game marketing? This was a tweet from what was the developer? It wasn't Sven, was it?
No, it was oh, I should know this because I follow him on Twitter. I'm trash. I'm looking it up. Who is this? Hello?
Oh, the Cromwelp at Cromwelp on Twitter tweeted, let me switch on over to this. Read this dumbass marketing thing. Yes, we don't have a credited marketer. I know it's weird. We paid a lot of money to trial the industry's best agencies for this shit, and they came up with nothing good. We learned some genuinely meaningful, replicable things from it. Number one, hire funny people. The most meaningful connection you can have with audiences is what I call true social resonance. What this means is an authentic connection for the short or long term with an audience you know will fuck with what you're doing. Number two, understand where they are. Digital distribution is good because guess where people hang out? Online. Reaching has never been easier. Read, it's not easy, but you do not want to go back to the days where a retailer was in charge of that. Discord, digital store avenues, etc. Number three, control spend. We're entering a product-focused era. Your grandma's on Facebook, but you're actively engaged with your hobby. Assume people are seeking out their niche. Find them, talk to them. 4. The best way to connect with someone in a meaningful way is to speak their language in a way that makes them feel engaged. What do they want? Do they have it? Do you understand them? Exhibit it in a way that's authentic to you. There's so much more on this thread. And even just, I only read like the first couple tweets initially when this got posted. I did not see the rest of this. But even just those 4 bullet points that I read, I've already been like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that this looks like a lot of stuff that even I could use to bring into like up, download, and not just game marketing. That this could be a lot of very helpful information just for modern marketing at all. And I honestly agree with it. Like, it's got to be hard for these developers of like funny, good artists. You know, Baldur's Gate 3 is a funny game. There's a lot of really good writing in the game. It's got to be hard for those writers to bring on a marketing team and have them just like gel with what they've been working on for years. And I'm sure as a huge Baldur's Gate 3 fan, you'd agree with that, you know, they're keeping as much of it in the team as possible is going to be a good thing. I don't know. What do you think?
For sure. I also took the time to Google. This is Larian's director of publishing. Okay, so pretty high up on the ladder, Larian. And I was kind of reading through that thread when he first posted it the other day. And it's like, it's true. Like, we can reduce everything to a number. We can, as a company, like, start pushing for, like, that data. But in reality, like, if you just have someone funny and relatable, like, half the time that's gonna get the message across better than fucking putting everything in the goddamn graph and being like, okay, are we hitting our fucking profits or whatever the fuck you make. Like, just get somebody funny and relatable. And obviously, like, the Larian and the Baldur's Gate through Twitter accounts are popping off, like, constantly. Let's not forget the fucking TikTok that went viral of starting having sex with Halsin as a bear. Like, I think that was my first.
That was days before the game came out, and that blew up.
Yes, and that was like my first introduction to the game was because of how viral that TikTok went. And I saw somebody else had quote tweeted at Cromwell and was like, "But this is still marketing in itself. Like, you're still marketing." In a way. And then he replied and was like, but there's a difference between hiring a marketing director and a communications director. Like you could have someone in marketing sit down and show you all the numbers, or you could just have someone really good at communications that knows how to get the point across.
Yeah.
So I think that's really it. Like I think there is value in having data and being, data driven to an extent, but at the same time it's like if you know somebody funny on the internet is gonna be funny and garner attention, then it's like put him on the fucking, like it's a no-brainer to fucking, I don't know, these kids that we see on fucking TikTok or Twitch or whatever making viral fucking videos every single fucking day. Like it's a no-brainer to them, so why do fucking boomers need, all these fucking graphs and shit to figure it the fuck out? It's like just hire a goddamn kid that's fucking funny on the internet. That's all you gotta do.
I love your extensive vocabulary today.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, but I completely agree. It angers me. It makes me so mad that I have spent how old am I? I'm 27. I have spent well over a decade. I'd say probably 13 to 15 years, like aggressively online is what I would call it. Every time I put in a location on Twitter or anything, I call it virtually ubiquitous. Like virtually, I'm everywhere. I'm constantly online. And I have experienced this dive into social media and the changes in trends of social media, not just from week to week, but broadly from year to year, about how social media is ran from a marketing standpoint. And I feel like I'm constantly just a little bit behind. And I'm like, I can understand the concepts, but I'm really bad at the execution. I have friends that are so funny and so good at this. I think I'm a funny person. I can't be social media funny. I struggle with that. But I can acknowledge that is a thing. That running social media right now is completely different from any sort of marketing that we have ever had. And yes, you are exactly right. Hire a kid. Like these freaking 18-year-olds coming in to do marketing are going to come up with things that are funnier and better than your marketing department will. And then there's such interesting random ways of running these channels that are so I'm just sad that I'm not a better social media person. I would love to just get it and lock in and constantly do good at it. And there's people that you see that no matter what platform they're on, they immediately lock in, they immediately understand it, and they immediately do well at it. We have friends that are really good at that. And it's just incredible to see, and I need them to teach me their ways, even though I don't even know if it's a teachable skill. Let's be honest. It's just something you have.
I feel like it's just like intuition in itself.
Yeah.
I feel like I've kind of popped off with Twitter lately.
With Astro Twit.
With Astro Twit. But also I'll admit, when TikTok first came out, I didn't make a TikTok for so long because I was like, oh, it's vertical. Nobody likes vertical. Nobody likes video shot in vertical. And now it's we're seeing, we're living in a world where everything is shot vertical now again. Mm-hmm. Because, it fits easier on a phone screen. You don't have to rotate your phone. And so, I literally made a TikTok 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah. It's incredible how the development of technology into this has completely changed the way that media is created. And now we have, I wouldn't say feature films or anything, but there are people that make very high budget short movies that are designed to be viewed vertically on this, instead of just turning horizontally and watching any other film, because that is just the way of the land. And I didn't put the TikTok ban in the news today because I didn't know if I wanted to talk about it, but
Oh, but
I
you know
mean,
I'm here and I love talking shit.
but
So
but like
perhaps
but
we should
like this
take a
it makes
minute.
sense to talk about it here because
Nice
like
segue.
there's you know, there's something to be said about how TikTok has influenced media and how it has influenced social media and marketing and how it has changed and turned everything vertical. And now we have Instagram Reels and Facebook whatever the fuck. And now we're probably going to be losing TikTok. They're not selling, they're deleting it.
Right.
And there's probably no way out of it. Joe Biden signed the fucking thing. Who knows
Joe
why the
Biden.
hell he did that?
I have so much
Too much
respect.
soda. I don't know.
I have so much respect for the CEO of TikTok. Just gonna be like, okay, well we'll just fucking delete it.
Yes, it's
Like,
amazing.
I don't know. Joe Biden really out here speedrunning losing the election. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
yeah,
chill.
yeah. I'm a leftist. I'll just probably not vote. That's probably just what I'll do.
I know.
Um.
I'll wait until I see the options and I'll be like, all right, what
Oh,
the
we know
fuck?
the options. We know the options. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we know the options. I'm holding out. I'm holding out
yeah.
for the fucking rapture.
Right. Literally anybody else. 2024. But no, I completely agree. Like, as much I enjoy TikTok. Last year I deleted TikTok for about like 7 months, and it was great. Because I spend way too much time on my phone. I got an alert in the car today that said I averaged 9 hours of screen time last week, which is hilarious because I was in the middle of a tech week and I was still getting 9 hours of screen time on my phone. Um, and so I am okay. Let me be clear. I personally am okay with TikTok not being a thing anymore because I want that time back. I am really bad about it. However, I do not think that it should happen. I do not agree with the choices, and I feel really bad, especially for all the creators that have made that their platform. TikTok is incredible for discoverability. I really want to do more things on TikTok. I just don't have the mental capacity to like edit any of these clips down into TikToks and post them at the moment. And now I might not get the chance to. TikTok was incredible for discoverability, and people have built careers on TikTok, and it's incredibly disappointing to see it go away.
I would double down right now, but I just know if I do, we'll be here for the whole hour. So I will just say I agree. I concur. I think it's so
Um,
stupid and yeah.
so I think we should move on to talk about, instead of something that you know, like a disappointing company announcement, something really bad about capitalism. I think we should talk about something that's like a warm hug, like a warm embrace, you know. And that is, of course, Embracer Group announcing its intention to transform into 3 standalone publicly listed companies at Nasdaq Stockholm. This is coming straight from Embracer.com. Uh, Embracer Group today announces a transformative step for value creation through a separation of the group into 3 market-leading games and entertainment companies. Asmodee Group, Coffee Stain and Friends, fucking awful. Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends, terrible. And Friends. What's the obsession with and Friends here? Right off the bat, I just want to say Asmodee is the name of a board game publisher, so that's going to be confusing. But like, remember these names: Asmodee Group, Coffee Stain and Friends. That's going to be a hard one to forget. Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends, also going to be a hard one to forget. I'm baffled. I am baffled at the and Friends. What, I've never heard a company called and Friends in my life. It's so stupid. It's so
It's
funny.
part of that like toxic thing that companies tell you that we're like, oh, we're like family here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, no, bitch. I want to clock in, I want to clock out, and I'm never gonna think about you when I'm off work.
It
Like
is
we're not
such a
family.
it is such a blatant example of like, oh, we are trying really hard to rebuild our image as Embracer Group, so we're adding and Friends to it. No, we're gonna remember who you are, you did, you know. And yeah, I it's frustrating. It's some capitalistic bullshit. wait, hold on. I'm reading more about this that I hadn't read before. Asmodee, a global leading tabletop games publisher and distributor. So they are Asmodee, and they're just okay. So I guess Embracer Group owned Asmodee, and now they are just making Asmodee like its own parent company. Is I guess what I'm seeing here. But yeah, they are really trying hard to get rid of the bad taste in mouths. And here's the thing. General public not really going to know anything. As soon as they hear the words Embracer Group, they're going to be like, "Okay." They'll hear any of these names and not think anything of it. It's the publishers and producers, game developers, those people that have a bad taste in their mouths from this, and they're not going to want to be working with Embracer Group in the future. I imagine they've already had deals go through because they know that they're probably not long for this world if they get bought by Embracer Group. So I imagine this is the first of many steps to try and repair their image, which I will be amazed if that is ever successful. But, you know, companies have come back from worse. So, you know,
Yeah.
time will tell. It's a shame, but time will tell. All right, I don't want to talk about that anymore. That's sad stuff. There is news on the horizon that is relevant to you and I do not have this pulled up at the moment, but there was a new Dead by Daylight patch this last week. And let's see here. So I'm seeing they had they finally released a bug fix for some strobing issues that could cause health problems with not schizophrenia. What's the name?
Epilepsy.
Epilepsy. Thank you. So Dead by Daylight 7.7.0 came out recently, and this was a huge update for updating to Unreal Engine 5. I am extremely excited to check this out. I don't know if it has like visually changed the game at all or anything, or if it feels different, but you know, Unreal Engine 5 is huge, and it's going to allow for some great things for the developers. The overall game file size has been reduced by 18 gigabytes, which I love to see that in a realm where we keep getting like 70 gigabyte games. New store. Looks like there's a lot of changes here.
I think the big thing that I was seeing from this patch is that there were so many bugs when it dropped.
Yes.
And I don't know if you saw, but there was something that you could do on RPD where you could basically, and they've had this problem before, but there was a specific spot in RPD where you could trap someone on the map and just keep them there the whole game. And like the killer specifically, like a survivor would just trap you there. You couldn't like hit them or anything, and you would basically just be held hostage the entire game. So they disabled RPD, which is something that they have done before with other maps, depending on the bugs.
Notably RPD before, plenty.
Yes.
I saw that they disabled RPD, and I saw they said it was because of a bug where a player would get stuck during loading. I didn't hear that this was the survivors making the killers stuck. That is hilarious to me.
Yeah, let me see if it's on. I saw a Reddit post on r/Dead by Daylight, and somebody made a Reddit post about it. Like, they got stuck for the entire game, and it got a lot of traction, and I think that's where they saw it and were like, oh, we need to disable that.
You know, I think, going off topic for a second, I think we need to make a Dead by Daylight show. I think a Dead by Daylight centered podcast would be a lot of fun. It's like one episode every 2 or 3 weeks. That'd be a blast.
I get. Here's my thing with DBD. I have such Destiny 2
trauma
with DBD. Thank you. Where we're like, I'll play it for a little bit, and then sometimes I'll play it, and then I'll just fucking want to uninstall. You know, like,
which will make for a very entertaining podcast.
Oh my god.
Negativity is what makes things spread on the internet these days. Hey, I said I didn't get social media. I do get it. You be a bitch and you'll get stuff spread on social media. And so
There
we
you go,
just complain
champ.
about the game. Yeah, we'll be great. Um, yeah, no, I'm excited to see the possible changes. And let's be clear. I'm sure it did come with a host of issues.
Yeah.
Because one, it is behavior. Every update's going to have issues. Two, this is a major change. But three, again, repeating point number two, this is a major change. Upgrading your engine from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, not as big as changing engines entirely. A lot of things in Unreal Engine 4 can just port over to Unreal Engine 5 and just work. I have experienced that myself from some very simple project files, nothing like a full game. But it is still massive. Updating your engine at all, that's going to create some issues, and there's going to be a learning curve. So, I am understanding of the problems. Maybe they should have spent a little more time playtesting it. I think that's behavior's biggest issue. Is I don't think they. Obviously, we don't know the inner workings of the company, but it feels like they don't spend as much time on playtesting as they should.
Yep.
And but hey, game still works. There's some issues. There's some flickering issues. There's some stuttering issues. There's some bugs. It's not as, from what I've seen, not that much more buggy than a normal DVD patch. So props to them for not breaking it even worse.
True. Real.
So yeah, that's incredible. Very excited to see that and play a little bit more with my Alan Wake brother in that. Let's move on to story number 5. The FCC could potentially no longer be enforcing non-competes. So this came directly from the Federal Trade Commission announcements page 5 days ago. Today, the Federal Trade Commission issued a final rule to promote competition by banning non-competes nationwide, protecting the fundamental freedom of workers to change jobs, increasing innovation, and fostering new business formation. Here's the thing: this is not going to be taken into effect immediately. This could take time. This could take up to 6 months, and in that time, companies can refute it and dispute it and take it to court. That said, I don't expect any court cases to really be successful over this because of how the country has been moving farther and farther into a non-monopoly stance. We had the major Xbox Activision case that took so long to go through, and I even though Xbox and Activision are still together, we saw with how big that case was and how long that case took that it's not easy to get away with the monopoly anymore. And non-competes are something that in the games industry prevents a lot of innovation, prevents a lot of people from getting new work. And here's something I was wrong about. I thought that a non-compete would just fizzle if you were laid off. Turns out that's not the case. A non-compete can still be enforced even if you were laid off, and I think that's a huge problem. And so this wouldn't end all non-competes. For example, if you are a senior executive and a non-compete was part of your negotiation for the pay for the new job, that would still be enforceable until it ends. They just can't make a new one. However, for most, in context of video games specifically, for most low-level developers, writers, those kind of people, it wouldn't be enforceable at all anymore immediately as soon as this takes effect. So I don't know. What do you have any initial thoughts on that topic?
Just remember, there was one story we brought up a while back, and I'm pretty sure it was you and me on the show, but it was a Blizzard employee who had been laid off or something to that effect, and they had to sign a non-compete, and they were just out of work for like months. And I think it's so gummy. Like, just make them sign an NDA. But like, you can't stop people from bringing knowledge from workplace to workplace. Okay, if that was the case, then like we should be, and you should do this anyways. Like when you leave a company, you fucking should delete everything that you fucking given to that company, so long as it
Yeah.
doesn't get you in trouble, right? Because like the work that you've done at that company will still live on in some way, shape, or form. So why is it okay for your work to still be at that company, but for you to not, be able to go to a different company and share what you've learned? Not necessarily fucking trade secrets, but like, just like, oh, I figured out an easier way to render this. That's just years of experience that you have as an individual, and you
Right.
can't police that. You can't. It's just job experience. So the people that do fucking non-competes, I think they have like the fucking smallest dicks in the whole fucking world. Cause you really fucking think you can police this shit. It's an employee. They come and go. Get over yourself.
Yeah. And right here on the FTC website, it says an estimated 18% of U.S. workers are covered by non-competes. I have never signed a non-compete in my life. I have never been presented with one. However, I have done like development things for companies before, and I've been like basically like I have been in positions where it's like if I would sign a non-compete, I would be screwed because like I got laid off last July, and had I signed a non-compete there, like it would have been like it would have covered things that I have done to get by in the time since for freelancing, and that would have been terrible. Luckily, that was just for a customer support role, and so nobody signs non-competes for that. But I did do some development work for there while I was there for support tools. I was making tools for our team to improve our output, and that was a lot of fun. And so yeah, I'm excited to see if this goes through. I'm praying this goes through. I will be excited to see how this improves the gaming industry. I don't think it's going to do. I think we're already near the end of the layoffs. Every major company has kind of already gone through their layoffs and announced their layoffs. And so I don't know if this is going to help anything in the current situation, but what this will lead to is we're going to be seeing a lot more indie companies being formed from industry veterans, and that's going to be really cool to see. We're going to see some great, innovative new games come, and I'm really, really hoping that this will be successful in the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to number my stories, but I did not do that. We're moving on to story number 6, which is Hades 2's technical test thoughts. Michelle, before we get into this, I know that you have been playing Hades 1 for the first time.
Yeah.
Why don't you recount us a little bit about how that has been going for you?
Okay, so first of all, I'm dumb as shit. I
wouldn't say that.
I am so thankful that Nolan has been holding my hand the entire time and watching my VODs. Shout out to Nolan. They have been basically messaging me when I'm a dumbass. Like, I didn't level up the mirror because I didn't realize I could level it up more. I also, there was something yesterday where I was playing where it was a boon, and it was like, when you use a Death Defiance, you become impervious for like 10 seconds or however long. And I was like, oh, well, I can't use that. I don't have any more Death Defiances left. But I didn't read the entire fucking thing because the next sentence was replenishes one use. And I was like, okay, what am I doing? But aside from that, I will say, I slightly molded the other day before I realized I was just playing the game wrong. Once I like finally looked some shit up, which I was really trying not to do because, I understand like Greek mythology to an extent. It's like, okay, yeah, it's hard to spoil something, but everybody does their own unique twist on it. I didn't want to spoil myself
is a
too much.
very buried character in Greek mythology
Yes.
too. So there's no,
For sure.
I'd never heard of him.
But, I was trying not to look stuff up as much as I could, but I was like, I have to look up some build stuff. And after this, I will be streaming, just a slight plug, but I made it the furthest I've ever gone in off stream yesterday, and I was just so excited because like Thursday when I streamed, I was really molding, and then yesterday I
Yeah.
was like, let's fucking do this bitch, and it was great. So, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I was kind of saying on stream yesterday, I don't think I've ever played a roguelike, honestly.
Oh.
And I, because I always have felt like they've just, like, I'm always scared. Like, I'm always scared that they're going to be too hard for me. But honestly, like, I felt like the difficulty scaling in Hades has done really, really well. Once I understood, all like fucking 75 different mechanics, all right? So now that I understand, now that I've been enlightened, like, I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah. No, I had a very similar, amazing first time with Hades. So I didn't play in early access. I played it when it first came out and saw the insane reviews it was getting. Picked it up, loved the game. I agree, it's got a very great scaling system. And yeah, definitely after the stream, pop on over to Mixien on Twitch. Check out the Hades stream because it's a blast. So I did get to check out the Hades 2 technical test. I got accepted in like the second wave, like second day it was open. So obviously I'm not going to go into detail about anything story wise, but I will say that getting to play the game, it felt very much like Hades 1. And with some great mechanical improvements. There was a couple new systems in play that were a lot of fun to mess with. And I had a blast. Unfortunately, I was in Florida all of last week, both unfortunately for me being in Florida and unfortunately for not being able to stream. But I was unable to stream the technical test on hotel Wi-Fi. I was hoping to get to pop on a little bit, but I should have recorded some gameplay. I didn't do that, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm really excited to see what comes out. The game will be going into early access soon, so everybody will get the chance to see the first chapter, at least, of the game. I remember there's a great documentary called Developing Hell by NoClip about the entire development process of Hades. It's really good. Once you beat the game, you should definitely check it out. But early access for Hades worked like chapters. So you would get up, I think they released it and you could get up to Megara, and that was the end of it. That was essentially the technical test, was the same thing. You get up to the first like boss and that was it. And so I would imagine early access is going to work similarly, where it's like sections of the game will come out in early access and then the true ending to the game will come out with the final release. I don't remember how far did you get in your last run?
Okay, so in my last run on stream,
yeah,
the furthest, okay, let me say this. The furthest I've made it on stream was to the final area where Cerberus is in. But today on stream, I recorded the very end of my run that I did last night off stream. So if you come see my stream, you'll get to see my reaction to making it further. And then I didn't play anymore after that because I was like, okay, I haven't figured out. I don't want to go any further off stream.
Okay, so you ran into Cerberus.
Yes.
And then did you go through the door behind Cerberus?
No.
Okay, got it. So I would imagine that I don't know this for certain. I should look this up sometime because I'm actually really curious. But I would imagine that the early access for Hades ended there with Cerberus, and that the final version of the game included finally what was behind the door. But I don't know. I'll have to check that out. I would hope that's how the current early access is. If early access is the same thing, you just go up to the first boss, like in the technical test, I probably won't check it out for a while, because I've already beaten that 5 times. So there's that. It was a blast. Great time. Very excited to see where Hades 2 goes. And I will always support Supergiant.
Hey, I have to ask you before we move on.
Yes.
How do you pronounce the protagonist's name in Hades 2? How do you pronounce it?
Melinoe? Melinoe.
I've heard like 3 different fucking things at this point.
So
and I have no fucking idea.
Off the top of my head, I did play with audio on. You know, I'm a sound designer. If I don't play a game with
okay.
audio, I'm not
So
gonna.
you heard it.
So I heard it, but
Okay.
I'm immediately second guessing myself.
I'm so
so
sorry. I did not mean to gaslight you, Kay.
no, that's fine. I even when you asked when I first said it, I was immediately like, I'm going to say this, and I don't think I'm right. Melanoe
This is why I wanted
is what I think it is.
This is why I wanted to. Kat, please.
I am
I'm
so
trying to
happy
ask
you
her,
heard
like,
that.
something.
She would not shut up when I got home, and she's been quiet, and she is like 10 feet away and is audible. That's insane.
But yeah, I wanted to ask you because I was like, okay, Sterling. I'm pretty sure Sterling played the technical test, and I'm not gonna look up footage because I don't want to look anything up yet. Like I'm still finishing out Hades.
Right.
But also, like, if you just Google how to pronounce it, like, you're gonna get like 70 different versions. I spent like 5 or 10 minutes on stream yesterday just trying to pronounce it. So there's that.
Let's see. Because there's a wiki. Let's see if the wiki has anything. It does not.
You're going down the same rabbit hole I went down yesterday. It was so bad.
Okay. I'm gonna pull up a video.
I bet it's the same video I watched. I just know.
Actually no, I haven't found a video yet. I'm just. Was it Who is Melanoe in Hades 2?
No.
Okay.
I just looked up how to pronounce the name.
Okay.
But,
Andy Cortez, one of my favorite streamers.
Andy, enlighten me.
Andy Cortez, he's one of the guys from Kinda Funny. He played a little bit, and so I'm going to go find dialogue that has the name. Let's see here. He doesn't say it. He has to die eventually, right? Surely. Oh, here. He died quickly. Good. All right. She talks to a friend at one point.
Yeah, she's Zagreus' sister.
All right. She just calls her Mel.
Yeah.
Four-star hand Melanoe.
Melanoe, I think is what she just said.
Oh.
Let me listen again.
I'm four-star hand Melanoe.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, but I think it's Melanoe.
Melanoe. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And also, I always thought, while I have this up, I thought this was pronounced Hecate. Always?
Oh, it's Hecate.
Yeah, I never knew it was Hecate.
That one I
always thought it was
fucking
Hecate.
knew. That one I fucking knew. I didn't know anything else, apparently.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, moving on. Quick story number 7. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door preview. I would be amazed if you've played a Paper Mario game. Have you, Michelle?
What? Paper Mario?
Yeah. Have you ever played a Paper Mario?
No.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I have a diss for Billy right now. Okay. I'm so sorry. I know you're trying to talk about the story. I love Billy. I love you to death, Billy. But sometimes I could only talk about Nintendo so much. I'm not a Nintendo girly. So you've like Mario, like I hear like Mario, like Mamma Mia, like Princess Peach. I'm like, okay, I see them in my head.
Mamma
I
Mia.
know who they are, but like, I don't give a fuck. I like Mario Kart. I like Animal Crossing.
Hold on.
That's the extent.
I
of my
don't
fandom.
want to interrupt you. I don't want to move on with this subject real quick. I want to address in the chat. I've been ignoring the chat this entire episode. You asked me about Melanoe, so I assumed you'd at least seen something about this game, knowing that Melanoe was a thing.
No, I said I'm looking at footage, and then you started looking at footage, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna hide this on my
Yeah,
fucking screen right
so
now.
I
don't see
assumed
it.
you. I assumed you would have been like you would have just looked away. I wasn't
I was like,
trying
I
to
literally-
like force this upon you.
You're literally force feeding me footage right now, Sterling.
I want you to wait because it is beautiful. It's gonna be incredible, and that's why I'm trying not to talk too much about Hades 2.
That's okay.
Anyway, back to Nintendo. Yeah, I know. Nobody in Up Download is as big of a fan of Nintendo as Billy, aka Billy the Game Goat. Second only to Clara Matt. But Paper Mario Thousand Year Door was one of the first games I ever played on the GameCube. I had I started with Pokemon Gold, well, technically Pokemon Crystal, and then on the GameCube, we got a GameCube. We had Super Mario Sunshine, we had Animal Crossing, and we had Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. So this was very early in my gaming career, and so this is getting remade. People have gotten to preview it already. It looks incredible. Adam Bankhurst at IGN was talking about it and was explaining that they are using modern technology to kind of redo the lighting and the effects, even though it still looks almost exactly like the original game. It just feels better. It's got some mechanical improvements. Unfortunately, it is 30 FPS, even though the original game was 60 FPS, but I imagine that's got something to do with the lighting improvements. I don't really care, especially for a game as stylized as this. I don't need it to be 60 FPS. I will thrive. I will survive. Paper Mario's got such a fun aesthetic, got such a fun vibe, and it is an RPG. It's got very great storytelling elements to the game. It's not just a traditional Mario game. It's turn-based combat. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I was just very excited to see some of the news come out about the preview. I'll be checking it out, and I honestly would highly recommend it if you get the chance to check it out ever. It's a blast. It's very funny. Very funny.
Blacked out.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Okay, here's the thing, all right? You haven't been here for a fucking month. It's been me and Billy holding out the fort, and I'm just nice, so I'll listen to Billy talk about Nintendo all he wants because I love Billy. It's like, go you,
Yeah.
Billy. Go you. I'll sneak in a little Baldur's Gate 3 topic here and there, but, you know, I'm like, yeah, but Billy, let's talk about Nintendo. Yeah, whatever you want to talk about. But, you know, after a while, I don't want to talk about the Nintendo anymore. It's fine. I understand you have Paper Mario news. I love that for you. I love that for you. But listen to me. I've been through some shit in the last month, okay? I know the inner workings of Nintendo at this point, okay? All right? I can run that fucking company, okay?
I don't know how to respond to that.
Exactly. You can't. I gagged you too hard.
I get it. It's still a fun game. You know. We'll make the next episode purely Nintendo and Persona just for you.
I won't be there.
We've got a few minutes left. Let's talk about something else Michelle doesn't understand, which is science.
Okay, true.
So I just wanted to touch on this because it looked really cool. So this is a thing that started in 2020. But I saw some news about it recently, and here's the IGN article. Millions of Borderlands 3 players are now collectively listed as contributors to a peer-reviewed scientific paper. And in a quote from Mayim Bialik, from actual scientist and actress Mayim Bialik, she said, in a sense, this result is theirs too, and they should feel super proud about it. So the thing is, that Borderlands 3 at some point included a yes, I'm 17 or older. Come on.
Hey folks.
They included a arcade
Researcher
machine
and your
inside the
favorite person.
game
Our bodies are
to
belong to foreign species of
help
microbes,
with
systems of sample
research
tracking down
on
specific
microbiomes.
Which side
in,
Borderlands 3?
in gut health, essentially. And what it was like a puzzle game trying to help, because I don't know the science. I tried for like 3 hours to understand exactly what the science was. But from what I've gathered, it's like we've had a bunch of microbiomes scanned. There's been a lot of DNA scans. Not all the DNA scans are reliable. And so there's a puzzle that can be completed to prove whether or not a scan is reliable. And those are the puzzles that are getting done. And that is going to help with a lot of research. So we have 4.5 million people who have completed these puzzles to help with this research. And I just think that's super cool. No idea what the implications of this are going to be. But hey, gaming can be used for good. And who would have thought that fucking Borderlands 3 would have been the game to do it in? you know.
Sterling, I know you were jokingly like, I don't understand science, but this is pretty cut and dry to me.
Oh, really? Okay, let's hear.
Tummy
Let's hear it.
hurt. Tummy
Okay.
hurt. Yes or no? Does your tummy hurt? That's it. That's the data. That's what microbiome, gut health,
I feel
tummy
like-
hurt.
I feel like
Yes?
I feel like we still have microbiomes even if our tummy no hurt. So if tummy no hurt, science no exist.
Who is that one? I think it was Tucker Carlson. If I can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? I can't see germs, so they don't exist. What politician was it that said that? That's me right now. I can't see it, so it doesn't exist.
Yeah, or Kevin from The Office, that too. It's just-
True.
yeah, so no, that's a super cool thing. Don't know what that's gonna do, but you know, maybe we'll hear more in the future about it. Again, IGN does want to also point out that there is a Borderlands movie coming out soon, and I imagine that will not do near as much for science as Borderlands 3 did. So I don't care. Well, that's all the topics we had on the list today. Was there any other fun Baldur's Gate news you wanted to talk about? Anything interesting?
No, that's it. And thank you
Okay.
for speaking my piece.
I just want to make sure that you know we address all gamuts of gaming from Nintendo to Baldur's Gate 3, the two facets of gaming news.
Thank you.
Here
Hey, I
on
had
the
other
podcast.
stuff that wasn't Baldur's Gate 3.
Great, incredible! I'm so proud.
Exactly.
We did talk about
So
Dead by
good job.
Daylight, so yeah.
Yes.
I'm gagged. I'm stunned. I don't even know what to say. All right. That's all we got for you today, folks. Thank you so much for coming by and enjoying the show. Really truly appreciate it. Michelle will be going live soon after this to play some Hades. I'm gonna go get some lunch and then probably come in and check that out. While I start packing to move this week and start a new job. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So thanks so much for hanging out, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye bye.